is we're going to ostensibly, we're going to keep our skeleton so we don't have to start from scratch. So we're going to get our skeleton out of here, and we're going to get our geometry out of here, and we're going to delete this. Everything else, we're starting over again. Before you do this, work on the placement of your joints. And then one other note, your joint placement should correspond with the topology of the character. So keep that in mind as well too. So where you have an edge loop, you want to place your joints around about those areas. Now, what we're going to do is an IK spline, and we did FK, which stands for forward kinematics, and we're going to do IK, which stands for inverse kinematics. And this is what we're going to do with it. Now, this is going to be a little bit trickier, and we will have to do some mail scripting. Well, not mail scripting. We will have to go into the expression editor to get this to work as well too. So to start out with, I'm going to hide the body. We are going to go to rigging, and we have IK, and what we want, let me go to skeleton, we want to create an IK spline, and we want to create an IK spline handle. Option box, we got auto simplify curve, auto create curve, root on curve. What we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to turn off the auto, well, we won't do that. But I like, personally, going for the auto simplify curve. Some people don't. It just depends on your preference. There are benefits to both. But for today, we're going to leave on the auto simplify curve. And now I'm going to click on my first spine, and now I'm going to click on the last spine in my torso. I'm going to click on the first spine, look up, because if I do it again, you look down, you won't see it. I'm going to click on the first spine in my joint, and then not the COG, and then I'm also going to click on the last one. So that's all the joints in my spine. Some people will go to the COG. I don't. You're never ever going to manipulate this IK handle. That's not what we're going to use to control it. Does everybody understand that? So we're going to hide it for right now. This creates a curve, and by manipulating the control vertices, that's how we're going to manipulate, that's how we're going to create our controls. Alright. I am going to hide my joints right now. I'm also going to go back to my legacy renderer instead of viewport 2.0. Last quarter I saw some draw issues with doing this, so I'm going back to it. Now, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We have to cluster each one of these. A cluster is a deformer. So I'm going to select my, let me turn off all of the joints so I don't accidentally select them. So I'm going to select the first control vertice in the curve, and we're going to go to deform, cluster, and we're going to hit apply. We're going to do the second one. And you got to do them one at a time, because if I have multiple selected, it's not going to create a cluster on each control vertice. It's just going to cluster all of the control vertices together. These clusters is what we're going to use to build our controls off of. And by selecting these clusters, we should be able to move this all around and do all sorts of things with it. Now, the next thing that I want to do, let's hide the torso again, is this curve is parented to my skeleton. I don't want that, because once I finish the setup, it's going to give me a double transformation. So I'm going to unparent the curve from my skeleton. Alright, now what we're going to do, we need our joints back. And what we're going to do now is create groups for each one of our clusters. So this is cluster 1, and I am going to create a group, look up, and then I'm going to snap that group, the pivot point of that group, to that joint. For my second one, I'm going to group it to itself, and I'm going to snap it to the joint right below where that cluster is. Third one, we're going to do the same thing. Create a group, and we're going to snap it below it. And then we have the last one. And we're going to snap it to this one here. So, ostensibly, we're not getting a lot of movement, but you can start to see how this is going to work. Alright, now let's go ahead and get some of our controls in here. So we're going to create a NURBS circle. I'm going to snap that to my COG. We're going to name it Place Me Con. I'm going to duplicate that, make this smaller. Move Me Con. I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to snap it to my joint. We're going to name this Lower Torso Con. I'm going to move this up. And we're going to name this upper torso con. I'm sorry, mid torso con. And then the last one. Okay, I'll move this up here.
Why are one of the ribs pointing up? Is that just how you have it set up?
None of my ribs are pointing up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that one?
Yes.
I think they may have already been pointing up.
Okay.
I think. Cool. Edit, delete by type history, modify freeze transformations. Alright. So what I'm going to do is let's name these groups lower cluster group, and I may have one group that I don't need, and I can go back and fix it just looking at it now. And we'll keep this one, mid cluster group, and I'm going to actually combine 4 and 3 together. So I'm going to take cluster 4, put that in group 3. I'm going to delete this one. Actually, I'm just going to get rid of it because I want it to be clean, so I'm taking a step back. Oops. Joints. And that's an effector. That needs to be hidden. And there we go. Now, we'll still keep that right there. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, my lower torso con, and we're going to parent constrain this group to the controller. So I'm going to select the controller, select the group, constrain, and we're going to do a parent constraint.
Which group did you select?
The lower cluster group. Now what we're going to do is take the mid torso controller, mid cluster group, constrain, and we're going to do a parent constraint. Actually, let me do something very quickly. Alright, got a little bit of a problem here, and I'll explain in a second. I need to backtrack. And my lower torso, I'm probably going to have to put lower than what I have right now. I'm going to have to change my insert point for it. And I'm going to move it all the way to the COG. And then my mid, I'm going to have to go a little bit lower than that. That might be too low. But I'm starting to get a little bit more movement here. I had them up too high. And then my upper, I'm going to have to bring that down a little bit lower as well too. To about right there. Okay, that's what I want. Good. Alright, let's do this again. And I'm going to go ahead and make it